Welcome everyone, it's Dylan from Class 1A, bringing you another My Hero Academia chapter breakdown. This week I have 367, All for One versus Deku. And before we jump into it, I just want to talk about the popularity poll art that we got from Horikoshi, because look at this thing. I mean, just look at everyone here. Everyone looks so incredibly cool, but I mean, the ones that stand out to me the most, Miriko, Aizawa, Toga, and of course Hawks. All of them look incredibly cool. Like I love whenever there's art like this, seeing like a little bit of an alternative universe a little bit, just this casual view, just everyone hanging out watching season 6 of the anime. But with that, let's just jump right into the chapter. We kick off the chapter seeing how Deku made it back to UA. The small dots he saw flying were actually Stars and Stripes' crew. They stayed in Japan and are defending the airspace around UA. After a quick hitch, they bring Deku back to UA at top speed. Okay, so I actually thought these were villains. I think they set us up for that, you know, with All for One saying he's sending some people out, and then immediately next panel we see, of course, is the dots in the distance. But of course, it is just people there to help Deku out. When Deku reaches UA though, he sees what he's been missing. There are bodies everywhere, including Bakugo. And of course, Shigaraki taunts him about this over and over again, which of course makes Deku go feral. And this is interesting because we've always had banter from Shigaraki. He's always been saying things, but they were more of like a impulse for him to say these things, talking about like the chess pieces and whatnot. But here, this is All for One talking. This isn't Shigaraki. This is classic All for One taunting here to get under his opponent's skin. And he's doing this very specifically because whenever Deku's in this like feral mode, his moves are really simple and he's not calculated, which we're really going to need from Deku here if he has any chance of beating All for One Shigaraki. I'm trying to figure out a name for this. Is it like Shigaraki for one? Is it one for Shigaraki? It's got to be something here, right? But Deku isn't just some kid anymore. He's a hero. Mirior steps up and talks him down from this feral state, because a hero just can't give in to their emotions like this. Even when all seems bad, you gotta stick to your ideals. And with that, Mirior pierces right into Deku's heart and calms him down. And with this scene, I'm really starting to see what Mirior's place is in this whole entire series. He is the ideal of what a hero should always be. I think a good way to think about it is if Bakugo is always the rival, the power rival to Deku, pushing him forward in terms of strength, Mirior should be the rival in terms of hero ability and hero ideals, and pushing him forward in like his morality here. I will say though, I want more feral Deku stuff because, I don't know, he just looks so cool when he's in that mode, but this is the right thing for the story here. I mean, just look how far he's come. And with Deku level headed, we end the chapter with Mirior, Deku, and the Vestiges ready to take on All for One Shigaraki. And he says, is Shigaraki still in there? And I think this is the perfect line right here, where he just still stands by his hero ideals of saying, is Shigaraki in there? Because he still wants to save him. He wants to save the kid that is still stuck in there, trapped. And even though this is Deku's MO, like he's always trying to reach the person within, always reach the villain's heart, this is probably what's going to cause the downfall of All for One, because if he's able to rip off Shigaraki from this being, he's just going to collapse in on itself. And I think that is where he's actually going to beat him. And this is also crazy because this is the final fight. Like, I think right here, this is going to be the final fight. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to end anytime soon. If we look at Vigilantes, that final fight lasted like an entire year. So we have plenty of time here, depending on how long Horikoshi wants to take this. Plus, we have other fights going on too. There are like 4 other fights that we need to wrap up before we wrap this one up. And not only that, this one's probably going to have multiple phases. There's going to be multiple parts to the fight. It's going to be big and it's going to be epic. And overall, I'm really happy with where we're at right now. Before, we were kind of dragging on some stuff a little bit and it was taking a long time, but I just want to see Deku and I want to see him fully powered fighting Shigaraki All for One. Because at this point, we haven't seen him really use all of his abilities together. When he was in his Vigilantes arc, we saw a little bit, mostly like one-off situations where he would use one ability or 1 or 2 abilities. We didn't see all of them really come together, like we're gonna see right here. And plus, we still have one other quirk we still haven't seen yet. And on top of all of that, I want to know what's going on with Endeavor and Uraraka. Like, those 2 fights are going to be insanely cool. I'm so excited to circle back to them. And trying to determine what next is a little bit null, I would say, because it's just fights. There's going to be fights upon fights upon fights, and we're just waiting to see what the next one's going to be at this point. So make sure you're strapped into Horikoshi's wild ride that we're on, because we're going to take it into the end of the series, and it's going to be great. But with that, I hope you all are excited for the next chapter, and also excited for the next season of the anime, which, at the time of recording this, is less than a week away, and you know that Class 1A is going to be covering it. And I hope you all are going to join us not only for the manga next week, but also for the anime where we break it down. We're going to be breaking down the first episode, talking about it Saturday morning. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. I hope to see you all there. So thank you so much for watching or listening, and we will see you all next class.